Good morning. It is Tuesday, June 9th, 2026. I'm Rob Patz. Good to have you here, by the way. This is the morning break on the Abundant TV network, along with on social media. If you're following me along on those formats, including Facebook, LinkedIn, and the X. Not on Instagram yet. I think we should do that. I think we should hook it to our Instagram. I think that'd be cool. I don't use Instagram enough. I've come to that conclusion. I actually read a study the other day about Instagram. How many people are on Instagram? And you know, when it first came out, it was just kind of like a place you did pictures. And I used to do pictures. Of course, you know I travel a lot, so I would put my pictures on there. But that was about it. Now it's video, the whole thing. My wife's much more into that than I am. And so, you know, if you're on the gram, as they say, I don't know who says that. Somebody does. Check me out there. Check out my wife there. By the way, new show tonight on Abundant TV. Our new show, not our new show because it's the fourth season, but our new show for tonight. How about that, Rob? Rob and Kristen show tonight. We've got a great show. You want to check this one out. Super cool. We talk about adoption. We have a writer that talks about mysteries and things like that. Very cool, very fun. Historic show also. So kind of interesting. The Rob and Kristen show, 8 p.m. Eastern on the Abundant TV network. Join us. We have a lot of fun. By the way, something we haven't mentioned on the air is it's called the Rob and Kristen show on YouTube. You know, it's brand new. We just launched it. Haven't told anybody actually on the air until tonight. But we already have 10 people that subscribe, so that's pretty cool. Not that we're hoping for thousands because, you know, I'm a numbers guy. But we start with whatever you have, especially since we haven't announced it until actually this minute right now, live on the air. So Rob and Kristen show having their own YouTube channel besides finding us on the app. And the neat reason for that is because we can archive a lot more stuff on YouTube than we can on the app. In fact, we're getting to the point of full after 4 seasons and about 113, 114 episodes on the app. So it's starting to kind of feel a little full on there. So that's it. So, hey, listen, I appreciate you. By the way, did you know today, June 9th, all across the world, it is national or international Donald Duck Day. Donald, you know, the thing I think about this, and as a kid, Disney was a part of my life, but it wasn't a huge part. I was very much, my life was revolved around sports, so much of it. But Donald Duck, I always liked Donald Duck. Do you remember they had those whole Disney series of books for young readers? Donald Duck's book was my favorite, just so you know. National Donald Duck Day today. By the way, it is also Call Your Doctor Day. I feel like your mother. Call your doctor. Anyway, hey, the great folks at My Snackies, my-snackies.com. You know, I talked about it yesterday. Over 70% of you that are taking a family vacation this summer are driving. What a great way to go. Use the code ATV when you go to my-snackies.com. Order some freeze-dried snacks. Now, listen, I wasn't cool enough to really know a whole bunch about this until just like this year, that freeze-dried snacks were like a real big thing. Did not know that they were such a hyped thing. But go to my-snackies.com, use the promo code ATV10 and do that. But listen, here's the thing. You need your freeze-dried snacks, but you also need your coffee. Great folks at 7 Weeks Coffee. They've been a sponsor of the network for goodness, a little over a year and a half now. And we love them. If you've seen some of their social media, they're doing some cool stuff right now. But the great folks at 7 Weeks Coffee, they know I love their stuff. We're going to have the founders on this month, actually, on the network. We're going to talk to them. Actually, my wife and I will. It's for an episode of the Rob and Kristen show. But I love their coffee. My wife got me into it. Now, she's not a coffee drinker, so she went in there and she was looking around. She said, this is really good coffee. We ordered the coffee before we ever got in contact with them. and we met them at an event in Dallas, and just it was just a good thing. I mean, it really went over really well. They talked, we talked, we thought we were a great fit, and so did they. And so, a little over a year and a half ago, we started a partnership with 7 Weeks Coffee. Now, listen, we believe in their mission statement. We love what they're doing, and that's not the only thing. And you got to have that if you're dealing with something like this. But the reality is their coffee is incredible. I love all of their coffee. I'm a coffee drinker big time, and I love it. I love their coffee. Now, my wife was very smart. She got a variety blend, a variety pack of things. And that was smart because, originally I told her, listen, I love dark roast coffees. That's what you should order. And she goes, no, I'm going to order your variety pack. And she did. And it was beautiful. It was awesome. It was incredible. And like all the different flavors, I'm not usually a morning blend coffee just because usually it's kind of light and it usually doesn't taste like much. But I love their morning blend. Check out all their coffees. They've got a limited edition right now, Haitian coffee that they're doing. It's incredible. They have redone their website, just so easy to navigate. Go over there, use the promo code ATV10 when you order. And we love the folks at 7 Weeks Coffee. It's going to be a great show today. We get to talk radio. Johnny and we're going to have fun. That's coming up after this.
Behind every precious life, there was a choice. Behind every family moment, behind every special memory, there was a choice. A life of joy, a life that is beautifully and wonderfully made. At 7 Weeks Coffee, we are funding the pro-life movement, one cup at a time. Will you let your coffee serve a greater purpose?
Remember to check out that new Haitian coffee. They say it's incredible. I've not gotten mine yet. It's only been out like a week. It has not come yet, though it will be here very soon. And I can tell you personally then about that. The thing I love, and if you have not had a small batch roast coffee or from a small roastery, you don't know what you're missing. In fact, my wife and I are going to Columbus, Indiana, not Ohio, the other Columbus. We're going there this week. There's a coffee shop there. If you follow the show or follow me on social media, you know that I go there. I'm looking forward to it. It's great coffee. It's not 7 Weeks Coffee. And that's the tough thing. I now compare everything to 7 Weeks Coffee. So use the promo code ATV10 when you order. Hey, excited today to have Johnny Jones with us. Johnny, good to have you here, man. And
Hey,
we're
it
going to
is.
talk about your radio station, your app you've got. Tell it, by the way, gorgeous skies there in the Carolinas.
Yeah. Yeah. You said you're not in the studio. And because I thought, you know what, it's so nice outside. Let me just do it right here. So thanks for working with me on that, Rob.
No, it looks beautiful. Hey, tell everybody a little bit about your radio station, about what you guys are doing, and then we'll go kind of back and forth on some ideas I have to talk about. But let's start there.
Okay. Well, I wear about three hats. I pastor a local church here in the eastern part of North Carolina. We're in Washington, North Carolina, the original Washington, by the way, the first town in America to be named after George Washington. So, as a town, we celebrate our 250 this year, just like the country. Washington, North Carolina, and pastor church. Um, I'm, and I've been in ministry pastoring on and off for about 20 years. Um, Back in 2012, I was pastoring a church, but there was just this dream in me, I guess you could say, a calling for radio. And 2 years into pastoring a church in this county, I launched a Christian FM radio station. And it was really just so amazing how the Lord put it all together. He told me a couple years, I really felt it so strong in my spirit a couple years earlier that this would happen. And sure enough, through some divine arrangements and connections the Lord made, and I was so helpless to do it. I totally had to rely on him, and he did all of it. We launched a radio station here. Our area is our county is separated by a river, so we have the north side and south side of the county separated by a river, and there are two. There's actually two bridges now where you can access both sides of the county. One bridge for the longest time, and then there's a ferry further downriver. So we named our station the Bridge. It was 98.3 The Bridge and small FM. We covered about 2.5 counties in our area. And then later we doubled our power and we transitioned to My Bridge FM. And we were a Salem Music Network affiliate station. So the flagship back in those days was out of Nashville, was the flagship station. And we loved being a Salem affiliate. We were a commercial station, and then when COVID hit, we became a hybrid station. During the COVID period, it was really difficult for stations. Some didn't survive. And we were struggling, and the Lord really gave us the concept of being a hybrid where we did listener support as well as advertising. But anyway, that journey lasted about 12 years exactly in the traditional radio world. But I felt in the last year or two of that ride, I really felt the Lord was leading us to expand our tent, enlarge our tent pegs and move out. And obviously we were confined by a radio tower, 500-foot tower that covered at that point about 3.5 counties. And I really felt the Lord leading us to do two things. One was to go all digital. As you know, Rob, it is super expensive to run a radio station. Just the power bill alone. I mean, just to play the first song was about 10 grand a month at a small station. And I felt the Lord say, hey, I want you to take those resources and put them into all digital. And so we developed the Sozo Radio app, and we launched that about a year and a half ago. And we left the traditional radio model completely. We were all under a lease with that anyway, so it was easy to get out of it. It was a great 12-year ride. And of course, with every 10 years, every decade or so, technology changes the way people listen to things, view things. You remember the 8 tracks to the cassettes to the CDs to the MP3s. And so we rode that wave for a good long while, and we felt like the Lord said, leave that traditional model and go all digital, which we did. And the second thing we felt like he told us to do was to switch our format. We were, as I mentioned, a part of the Salem Music Network. We were a CCM, Contemporary Christian Music Network. Loved it. Hosted a ton of concerts here in our area. We brought some incredible artists to our area that wouldn't have normally been able to come to this area had it not been for something like our station. And that was such a great privilege to be a part of. But we switched our format from CCM to a worship format. And that's when we changed our name from My Bridge FM to Sozo Radio. And hopefully, as we talk here for these few minutes, I'll get to talk about Sozo and what that represents. But what we feel like we've created here now is really a tool that helps people get connected with the Lord as they start their day and really helps stay connected with Him throughout their day. And it's really more than a worship app. As I said, it's a tool because in the app, we have a daily devotional and a short daily 6 to 9 minute audio podcast that pairs with the daily devotional. So we're about a year and a half into it, and we're really just building our audience, and it's really interesting. The audience is not huge. It's not nearly as big as what we had before, but it's growing. But what's interesting is we're reaching people in parts of the country that we would have never been able to reach otherwise. Texas, Canada, Florida, California, you name it. It's really been interesting to be a part of that. So that's just kind of an overview. And again, hey, thanks for having us on today, man. I'm so grateful for the invitation, and I always look forward to the opportunity to talk about Sozo Radio and Sozo and what we get to do.
I love that. So I do. I think I know what you mean by Sozo, but maybe
Okay.
our audience doesn't. So I
Okay.
want you to explain it to them.
Well, I'll explain it in the way it came to me. I was years and years ago, over 20, well, back in, let's see, 2000, 2001, actually. I'd attended a conference, a ministry conference out in Oklahoma, and the conference had concluded. It was a 3-day event. It's Friday afternoon or lunch, Friday lunch. I'm at a restaurant with some friends. I was living in Raleigh at the time, about to come back home. And my friend asked me, my buddy, he was from Raleigh. He said, "Hey, man, I bet you got a notebook full of sermons. What are you preaching on this Sunday?" And I said, "I don't know." And the reason I said I don't know was because I didn't. I wasn't a note taker. Usually, when I'm taking notes, I'm missing what's being said. And so I just try to listen really good and maybe get an audio if they're available. And so I didn't have a bunch of notes. I didn't know what I was going to speak on. And when I said that to my friend, I heard this question so loud in my spirit. It was not audible, but it might as well have been audible because it was so distinctly loud. And the word that came to me was that the question was, do you know how saved you really are? And it was one of you can't remember every moment in life. It's impossible, but there's some moments you can't forget. And that was one of those non-forgettable moments. And I said that to my friend. And for the next several days, even the next week or so, I kept hearing this word over and over. This question: do you know how saved you really are? Do you know how saved you really are? And finally, I just like, well, I just, realized the Lord's not asking me for information because he doesn't know. He's asking me because he's leading me to a discovery. And so it really felt foolish, Rob, but I picked up a Strong's exhaustive concordance. Now this is in, early 2000s, so internet like we know it today wasn't big. So I grab a Strong's concordance and I'm going to look up the word saved. Now keep in mind, I tell people I went to church 9 months before I was even born because I was born and raised in church. My dad had been in ministry. Church had been a part of my life. And it felt really foolish looking up a word that my whole life, I'm in my 30s at that point, I knew what it meant in my heart and mind. And so I look up the word saved. And if you're familiar with the old concordances, you look up a verse and then you can diagram every word. And of course, the New Testament's written in Greek, Old Testament's in Hebrew. So I'm in the Greek section. And I look up John 3:17. We know John 3:16, probably the most popular verse in the world. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whoever believes in him will not perish but have everlasting life. John 3:17, though, says, but God sent his son into the world, not to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. So I look up at that word saved, and I have a legal pad, and I start writing down the definitions. And the first three definitions that I wrote down was saved, and that word saved translated means rescued. So saved, healed, delivered. And then the definition says connected to the word soteria. Now, this word saved that I looked up was the Greek word sozo, S-O-Z-O. And it says connected to the word soteria, which is the Greek word for salvation. So I flip over to salvation, and it's basically sozo or saved in the adjective form. And I look at that, and then I write down the rest of the definitions. So I'd already written down saved, healed, delivered. But then I write down saved, healed, delivered, preserved, protected, made prosperous, and made whole. And even looking at the word prosperous, it meant to be fully supplied and need or want of nothing. And so I wrote down all these definitions, and I'm like, what? Being saved means all of this? This is what Jesus came to give me when he came to save me? And I'm really in shock because like our biggest obstacle to learning something new is the obstacle of never having heard it before. So we tend to be skeptical about anything we've never heard, but that's kind of a bad rule of thumb because there's a first time for everything, and there's a first time you've heard anything. And so, but I'm skeptical. I'm like, it can't mean that. Like, not everywhere in the New Testament. And sure enough, I'm flipping through the New Testament, even in Paul's letters to the church, and everywhere I see the word saved, it is this Greek word sozo with those seven meanings. And so I remember the next couple of days, I'm like, wow, this is really interesting. And I'm like, Lord, can you help me? Can you expound on this for me? And I felt like he said to me that even Jesus used the word saved interchangeably. And I'm like, and then I start looking up some stories and interactions that he had with people. And the lady that had been sick for 12 years, one of the gospels says that he told her, "Daughter, go your way. Your faith has made you whole." And that word whole is that Greek word sozo. It's the same word as John 3:17. And why did she need that? Well, one of the gospels tells us that she was sick, had been hemorrhaging for 12 years, but she'd spent all she had on doctors seeking a cure. So she was sick and bankrupt. So she really needed more than just healing. She needed the totality of what being saved could give her. So I'm like, wow, that's interesting. And then he led me to the story of the lepers that came back, that got healed, and one came back, the Samaritan, if you remember his story, he came
Mhm.
back to thank Jesus. And Jesus says, "Go your way, your faith has made you whole." And that again was the word sozo. And there are many components. The woman that broke open the alabaster box, he told her the word sozo. Blind Bartimaeus, there's several instances where he uses that word interchangeably. So you know it's not just someone seeking salvation, because these people knew he was the Messiah. These weren't people just seeking salvation. These were people that needed a totality of what salvation could bring to them. And so that was really a marking point, really, I guess you could say like an Ebenezer milestone in my life personally. And I remember the Lord said, for the rest of your life, I want you to dedicate it to spreading the message of sozo. And so when I started, even with radio, I needed a company name for radio, and I launched Sozo Communications. And what he said was, I want you to, and even when I had my Bridge FM, it was under Sozo Communications. He's like, your life is to assignment is to communicate this message of Sozo to people everywhere. And particularly for us in the church, because you know, you've grown up in the church, Rob. You think you understand what something means, but when the Lord can just shine his light on something and show you even more deeply a truth that you've never seen before, it is so incredible. And really what it helped me do is it helped me fall in love with the gift of salvation. Because growing up in church, I probably had taken it for granted to an extent. And then what this showed me as well was salvation is such a complete work. It's as much for the believer every day as it is for the sinner that needs to be saved. Yes, we need to be saved, born again, but there's also things that need saving in my life every day that I run into. And this same salvation keeps working. Paul said it this way. He says, I'm saved, but I'm also being saved. So that is the definition of sozo. And I didn't come on to promote the book, but I will lift
There
this
you
up.
go.
I wrote a book. It's a thin, easy read because I'm a thin, easy reading kind of guy. You can read this in an evening, but I wrote the book here a few years ago, right before COVID, actually, and it's called The Sozo Life: How One Question from God Led to My Greatest Discovery. And it's available on Amazon. But in that book, though, I tell that whole story, and really in the book, I write chapter after chapter. I cover all seven meanings of sozo, but then I just go through and I tell people's story about how they experience the different aspects of salvation. And I would dare say that most believers, you've experienced sozo salvation in your life beyond what you probably even realize you've experienced. And so really the whole mission is an awakening. And Sozo Radio is just really designed to be a tool to help people stay in the presence of the Lord, as I mentioned earlier. David said, Lord, keep me on the path of life. And there's so many things coming at us in the course of a day. And we use worship music, the top worship music that you'll hear anywhere out there. We have it. We keep it fresh. You don't have to manage a playlist. You don't have to search for new music. None of that. You don't get stuck in repeat. The music is there. You can play it when you're walking, when you're, at your computer working, play it in the house. And then the devotionals is called Sozo Today, and it's designed to really help you just stay connected with the Lord through His Word to just keep you on that path of life throughout the day. So, the long answer to your question, but it's a trigger point for me, man. When you ask me what sozo means, it's like my kids say, "Dad, you go off." I mean, I just go off because I'm so passionate about it because it's so powerful.
It is, and that's incredible, and I'm glad that that was where you were going because that's kind of what I thought you might be leading. As the interviewer, you're always kind of you worried. Okay, is he going to go a different direction? But that was exactly what I was thinking, Johnny. And that's
Yeah.
kind of the way John 10:10 is for my wife and
Yeah.
I, because there is so much more of a meaning to it than what it
Hmm.
really is, and
Yes.
what if you can take it at face value, but there's so much more. And I think that's why the Bible is so incredible and why I
Mhm.
enjoy reading it every day and why it is so amazing. That's why it's the living word. I mean, totally,
Mhm.
completely. Every day it's different. Hey, can they get your app in the App Store? How do they find it?
Yeah, so it's really easy. The app is absolutely free, by the way. And yes, it is in the App Store, but you need to sign in when if you download the app from the App Store. It's available for, Android and iPhones. But the quick and easy way to get it is just to go to our website at sozoradio.org. Sozoradio.org. That's it in reverse. And you subscribe, and then right there it takes you to the link, and you download the app on your phone. It's absolutely free. It's commercial free. And yeah, we are a nonprofit ministry. So if you'd like to donate to what we do, that's incredible. We don't press that. We don't want to disrupt the flow of worship by hitting you with a lot of stuff. But sozoradio.org is where you can download it and just enjoy it. Download it on your phone. I don't see if I can. Uh, that's uh, that's the Sozo Radio app
There
right
you
there.
go.
And then you click on it, and that's the current song that's being played. That's to date. That's the last few songs that have been played. And then here's the day's devotional, and that's today's short podcast. The podcast is designed when we read the daily devotional, we discuss it briefly, and we end in the closing prayer. It's really designed for folks on the go, like if they want to listen to the devotionals or riding to work or whatever. But the app is free, and you can subscribe and download at sozoradio.org.
That's awesome, buddy. Hey, listen, what's your favorite current worship song? What are you jamming to right now?
You know, I don't know that I have one. That's really crazy too, right? I get these earworms. Like, I'll hear a song and just sing it. My wife gets annoyed because I'll just park on one line of the song and sing it over and over and over. And for me, it almost changes daily. So it's like your children. I got 5 kids. It's like to say which one's your favorite. It would be really difficult and not even possible, right? And so I'm kind of like that with music. There's some songs that just really hit me, and I tend to have about 10 favorites at any given time, really, Rob. But I will tell you this too. This is why I love the when I say a worship app, the app is designed to bring you into the presence of the Lord, because we carefully curate these songs. My son, actually, who worked with the radio station through his growing up years, I think he is the number one programmer for worship music in the country. His name's Joel. Joel designed the app too, by the way, and he programs the music. And he's in his mid 20s now. And certainly, I'm boasting on him. He's my son. I love him, but he really is good at this. And our first criteria is we look for songs that are singing to the Lord and not just about the Lord. So there's a lot of music that's great and it sings about the Lord, but this music that we curate, it songs to the Lord. And so it's like you're having a conversation with music to the Lord, which just ushers in his presence. And that's just kind of what sets it up. That's the foundation of it. And
That's
just
awesome.
try it, listen, and again, it's
Yep.
free, so there's no risk. But
There you
for any of
go.
your viewers out there, yeah.
That's awesome. Hey, Johnny Jones, thanks for being with us, my friend. Appreciate
I
you.
loved it.
Hey, it has been a great day again here on the show. Great to have you along. And man, it is crazy. Thanks for taking a part of your morning out with us and doing the morning break. We'll see you